Morning. Today is Wednesday, October 1st, and this is Devotions from St. Paul Evangelical Lutheran Church in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. We're going to take a passage today from Matthew's Gospel, and Matthew is going to have Jesus speaking to a young man who asks what he must do for eternal life. And the answer will cause us, I hope, to think deeply about the same issue. So this is from the 19th chapter of Matthew's Gospel. Then someone came to him and said, "Teacher, what good deed must I do to have eternal life?" And he said to him, "Why do you ask me what is good? There is only one who is good. If you wish to enter into life, keep the commandments." He said to him, "Which ones?" And Jesus said, "You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, honor your father and mother. Also, you shall love your neighbor as yourself." The young man said to him, "I have kept all these. What do I still lack?" Jesus said to him, "If you wish to be perfect, go, sell your possessions and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me." When the young man heard this, he went away grieving, for he had many possessions. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Truly I tell you, it will be hard for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven." It will be hard for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. You know, that's just countercultural to the way we live today. We think that those who are rich are the ones who have made it, who have done well in this life, who have reached the apex of what you're supposed to do. We celebrate when somebody gets a contract. We talk about athletes who make millions of dollars for doing their games, for entertaining us with their skill. And yet here it says, it will be hard for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. Notice that the first thing that Jesus answered the young man was, "Follow the commandments." And we know that doing these kinds of works are good things to do, but we also know that we do not do them perfectly. And so we look to Jesus as our salvation and Paul as the apostle that tells us that salvation is by faith alone and not by works that we do to obtain salvation. And I think that theme is the same theme that what Jesus is saying here. Riches aren't bad. There's nothing wrong with being rich, unless that is the focus of your life. It's a case of what is the most important thing in your life. And if riches is it, you're not going to make it to heaven. I mean, that's what Jesus is saying. The most important thing has to be faith in Jesus Christ. Because that's the only thing that opens that door. Salvation is by faith alone, not through works. This is an old doctrine. It is one that in the Lutheran Church was one of the very foundational things that Martin Luther talked about. And now for almost every Christian, it is the touchstone. And yet we still celebrate wealth. And not only wealth, but all the things that come with it. And we don't even have to think about material possessions, but just think about the idea that we have power to do whatever it is we want to do. and that we live in a big house, and that we drive a fine car, and that people respect us for what we have accomplished. And Paul would tell us all of that means nothing, or as he did in his terms, I consider it to be rubbish. It's not rubbish. If used well, it is a very important thing. If we use it to help others who are less fortunate than we, that's a good thing. But helping others that are less fortunate than we does not bring us salvation. Only faith can bring us salvation. So this is a difficult teaching because it speaks counterculturally to us, counter to the things that we hear every day, counter to the things that we may even think of, and almost certainly think of at some time. And so it comes down to what it always comes down to. It comes down to the priority of faith in Jesus. Cling to that, work at that, pray to God that that is and stays and becomes and never leaves you as the most important thing in your life. Because that is life, that is truly life, as we heard in the gospel this past weekend. I hope you'll consider this reading in Matthew 19, and then consider it in your own life and set your priority on Jesus. Thank you.